Watch this clip. This is how Umar did with the little daughter of Ali. He is following the exact path of his prophet.
Covered up, Parwana whimpers as her mother holds her. "This is your bride, please take care of her," says Parwana's father. "Of course I will take care of her," replies the man. His large hands grab her small frame. Parwana tries to pull away. As he carries her only bag of belongings, she again resists, digging her heels into the dirt. But it's futile. The fate of this small, helpless child has been sealed.
Welcome to another episode where we will know how the Islamic Caliphate got formed in the initial days. But before we go deep into that, I would like to bring your attention to an event that almost all Islamic scholars feel ashamed to discuss. And even if they discuss, they would beat around the bush, ignoring the elephant in the room. That event is called the Mubahala. Mubahala is an Islamic way of resolving theological disputes by invoking curses on the opposing party. And the one who is wrong or false in that dispute will end up dead within a year of the Mubahala. The Mubahala event happened in the year 632, the very same year the Prophet of Islam and his daughter died. To be dead in the same year of the Mubahala itself proves that the Prophet of Islam was false according to the Islamic way of resolving disputes. Should you not know what was that dispute and with whom it happened, let us have a look at it. There was a dispute which is recorded in the Quran. Surah 3 verse 61 speaks about that event. That dispute is concerning Jesus Christ with the Christians of Najran. The leader of the Christian delegation was a person by name Abdul Masih. Mubahala is not a Christian way of resolving disputes. However, when the Christian delegation came to discuss with the Prophet of Islam, he called his daughter and family to be part of this cursing competition. When he could not convince the Christians to toe his line, he started hurling curses as part of his Mubahala. The Christians would not even participate in this cursing, as the Bible is against cursing of anybody. When the Islamic rhetoric increased, the Christians departed by blessing the Prophet of Islam instead of his curses on them. The result of the Mubahala is open for all to see. The Mubahala proved that the Prophet of Islam was a false prophet according to the Islamic way of dispute resolution. Why does not Islamic scholars discuss this and highlight it to their congregation? Let the truth come out and followers of Islam see the light of Christ from the dungeon of their dark surroundings. Now let me continue with the discussion about the events post the installation of Abu Bakr as the new caliph. The religion of peace started without any peace, and it continues till today without any peace. As per Muhammad's last wish, the non-Muslims were evacuated or killed or forcefully converted to Islam in the Arabian Peninsula. Since then, peace have remained elusive in Islam. There is no peace, says the Lord, for the wicked. The way the Khalifas grabbed power and were killed is a gory tale which most Muslims are unaware of. This video is an exercise to educate Muslims about their own history. Al-Tabari says that a close scrutiny of the early sources suggests that Ali refused to swear allegiance to Abu Bakr for 6 months, that is, for as long as Fatima was alive. After her death and with the eruption of rebellion among the Arab tribes, Ali might have been compelled to become reconciled with Abu Bakr. The rule in Islam follows the might is right principle, based on which Ali had to make concessions. The reign of Abu Bakr was quite uneventful after the episode which resulted in the death of Fatima and the initial rebellion by Ali. As mentioned earlier, Abu Bakr was an older person, and hence he could not last long in the throne. He died after 2 years in 634 AD, After that, as we all know, Umar ascended the throne. Umar was a very violent and heavy-handed person. There are incidents which make it clear that the Prophet of Islam was intimidated by Umar. Even the hijab tradition for women was brought into Islam by Umar and not by Allah or the Prophet of Islam. Umar did not have much doubt that Muhammad was a false prophet. Therefore, he went to a Christian bishop to get prophecy about the caliphs who would follow Muhammad. The bishop prophesied the 4 caliphs who would come after the death of Muhammad. This is a cause for embarrassment for Muslims. Interestingly, this hadith was made zaif only 40 years back in the late 20th century by al-Albani. The bishop said that Umar would be like an iron castle while Uthman would be nepotistic, and Ali would be like a rusty iron. Remember this hadith as we would recall the contents of this hadith as we proceed further about the future caliphs. There are so many prophecies of Muhammad which has been proved as false. In fact, you don't need an Umar-like person to understand that. Most of those prophecies are based on fear within the Prophet of Islam. The false prophecies of Muhammad is a topic which we can take up separately. Let me show you what kind of person was this Umar. The wives of the Prophet used to go out for the call of the nature at night. This is because there was not toilet facilities in those days, as we have today. When these ladies used to go out at night, and while they were in the process of discarding their body waste, Umar would search them out and call out those ladies by name. Come to think of it, this is the standard of a Khalifa of Islam. How shameless can a person be? And because of this behavior by Umar, the Prophet of Islam was forced to add the verse of hijab into the Quran. In short, the whole purpose of hijab was to hide the face of the women while she was discarding the body waste. And now this same hijab verse is used by Muslim women to cover their faces even today when we all have modern restroom facilities. In Muhammad's time, if a woman has covered her face with burqa or hijab, it has to be assumed that she is going for the call of nature. We are living in modern times. We do not have an issue with replying to the call of nature with the most modern amenities around us. Why do we need our Muslim sisters parade around in the burqa and hijab that reminds us of the medieval times of barbaric Islamic regimes? Umar was known to be a very violent and short-tempered person where he can kill people at the drop of the hat. Even the Prophet of Islam was also scared with him. This is one such instance where he was telling certain things to make Umar feel elated. He could not afford to displease Umar. We have known about the pedophilia of the Prophet of Islam when he married a 6-year-old Aisha, the daughter of Abu Bakr, so we should not be surprised if his followers overtake him in these perverted actions. We have Umar who forced Ali to have his daughter Kulthum to be married off to him when she was 4. Shia Hadiths from ShiaOnlineLibrary.com says something very shocking. The highlighted portion says the following. Abu Abdullah said about the marriage of Kulthum, "That was the vagina that we were forced to give." There are some people who say that Kulthum was 10 at that time. Regardless, still the deed of Umar was pedophiliac. Read this, and notice Umar's rather shameful conduct in kissing a young minor and touching her calf at a time when he wasn't even married to her. It even shows us how Kulthum reacted to Umar's despicable behavior. One narration even has the caliph rebuking anyone that would have a problem with his marrying a premature minor. Now coming back to the reign of Umar, there is this incident with a stonemason by name Abu Lulu'ah who came to Umar to address his tax-related issue. However, Umar was not very kind towards his case. After that, Umar asked him to make a mill for him, to which Abu replied, "If you survive, I shall certainly make you a mill that will be the talk of everyone in both East and West." Umar understood the reply as a threat to kill him. Interestingly, after that, a Jewish scholar who converted to Islam came to him and said that the life of Umar will end within the next 3 days. Therefore, Umar should take this time to prepare for the next Khalifa. Is it not interesting that Umar believed in the words of Jews and Christian scholars for his purpose? As we read these pages from Al-Tabari, we get to know that Umar was killed by Abu Lulu'ah by hiding inside the mosque and killing Umar while he was leading the prayer. It describes that the assassin thrust the sword 6 times into the body of Umar, one of which was into the belly, which killed him. Tabari seems to record a longer conversation after the act, but such longer conversations are more of an imagination by the writer. Finally, we see him making a request to Aisha to allow him to be buried beside the Prophet and Abu Bakr. This request is granted, provided that there is a majority vote among the other leaders of Islam. Abu Bakr ruled for 2 years, and Umar ruled for 10 years when he died in 644 AD. As a result of the killing of Umar, his son Ubaidullah bin Umar became wild and killed many innocents in Medina as a revenge for his father's death. In reality, the assassin of Umar had committed suicide after he killed Umar. As Ubaidullah, the son of Umar, had killed innocents, he should have been given death penalty for having killed innocents. But as you can expect, with any Islamic reign he was freed without any repercussions. Now the new Caliph Uthman ascended the throne, and just as the bishop prophesied about him, he ensured that his relatives are given plum posts in his kingdom. His brother Walid bin Uqba was made as the governor of Kufa. His cousin Abdullah bin Omar was appointed as the governor of Basra, his brother Abdullah bin Saud as the governor of Egypt, and another of his relative Muawiyah bin Abu Sufyan as the governor of Syria. This is that same Uthman who burned all the other Qurans and saved the one which he liked to be propagated. By this one single deed, he proved that the Quran had varied copies with different concepts and words which could not be reconciled. Therefore, he ordered the confiscation of all Quran copies and burned them all. Even more interesting is that Muawiyah, the one appointed as the governor of Syria, was not even a practicing Muslim. His wife was a Christian who brought up their son as a Christian. Abdullah bin Saud, the appointed governor of Egypt, was an ex-Muslim who had rejected the prophethood of Muhammad. Abdullah ibn Sar, upon learning that Muhammad's alleged revelations were fake, left Islam and went back to Mecca to tell the Meccans that he doctored some of what Muhammad asked him to write, and that Muhammad willingly accepted his suggestions on the modifications of the so-called revelations. If Muhammad was proofreading what the Sahabas were writing, this wouldn't have happened. If one of the scribes can manipulate the content of the Quran, what about other scribes who have chosen to remain discreet? Why do you think we chuckle when Muslims tells us that the Quran has not changed since it was given to Muhammad? It was this Uthman who saved Abdullah ibn Saud from a certain death because of his proximity to Muhammad. Even though Muslims tells us that he later became a follower of Islam, we all know that it is only to save his life from Muhammad and his violent dacoits who had conquered Mecca. Who in their right mind will ever believe in the revelations of Muhammad once you know that he is a fabricator? The reign of Uthman has to be dealt separately with lots of lies and deception at play. We shall take it up in the next episode of this series. If you like this content, click on the thumbs up icon. Do share it with your friends and family. If you have not yet subscribed, please do so by clicking on the subscribe button with the bell icon on so that you will be notified about all our future uploads. Till then, may the Lord bless you and keep you.